Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, we will be discussing about managing conflict and cooperation in the international political economy through institutions. So we will be discussing how institutions can manage conflict and cooperation in the international political economy. Before that, we will discuss first shortly about globalization. Global interdependence or mutual dependence arises when there are costly effects or high benefits to interaction among states. With increasing interdependence, questions of collaboration and coordination become increasingly important. Tumataas o nagkakaroon ng interdependence or mutual dependence, meaning yan yung pagtutulungan sa global. Kapag nagkaroon ng high benefits o malaking benepisyo ng ugnayan o pagkikipagtulungan ng mga states. Kapag nag-increase o tumataas ang sinasabing interdependence, nagkakaroon ng questions or let us say interrogation about sa collaboration at coordination. And it will also become increasingly important. Due to globalization, ang contemporary world politics ay na-witness nito ang pagtaas o pag-increase ng mobilization o ang operations, ang pagkilos ng mga stakeholders pagdating sa conflicts over material and immaterial issues. Ang mga institutions like EU, IMF, and World Bank ay maaaring magsilbing vehicle or means of communication or guidance nila o pwede rin namang maging hindrance sa kanila. Nag-offer din ng excellent research ang mga departments tungkol sa issues katulad sa trade, finance, property rights, gender policies at maging ng mga institutions surrounding such issues areas. Next, the need for international cooperation. Ano nga ba ang needs para sa international cooperation? There are economic benefits to the integration of world markets, but the domestic cost of adjustment can be an obstacle or opposition to global integration. May economic benefits sa pagsasama-sama ng world markets, pero ang domestic cost of adjustments ay maaring maging obstacle o maging hindrance or opposite sa global integration. So we have here the challenges of first, the free riding. Second, overcoming uncertainty or inhibiting fear. And third, where to meet or bargaining over distribution of gains. Makaka-adapt or magkakaroon rin ng protectionist policies or free ride ang governments depending on domestic protectionist lobby pressures and flexibility of economy to adjust. Example is the labor marketing or labor market. Next, government may experience inhibiting fear. Makaka-experience o makakaranas ng inhibiting fear ang government. So ano ito siya? Ito ay kapag ang economic liberalization ay magkaroon ng economic instability or hindi siya stable. And afterwards, magkakaroon rin ng political instability. For short, both economic and political ay not stable or instability. Coordination is required to negotiate the distribution of gains and losses from international cooperation, the way to meet problem. So required ang coordination para makipag-negotiate sa distribution of gains, yung mga nakuha o yung mga nadagdag, and also the losses mula sa international cooperation. The type of good, that is private versus public or versus inclusive club, will also shape the challenges in cooperating. So ang type of good na which is private, public, or inclusive club ay sinishape rin nito ang challenges when it comes in cooperating. Game theoretic approach. So ano itong game theoretic approach? So, game theoretic approach is a useful analytical tool to examine interdependent decision making. So, ang sinasabing game theoretic approach, ito yung tool na ginagamit or useful analytical tool para ma-examine or masuri ang interdependent when it comes in decision making. Typical problems of international cooperation can be modeled by different games. So, in problems of international cooperation, mayroon tayong iba't ibang games. So, matatakal natin yan mamaya. So, ano itong games? So, ang games describe phrase choices available to actors or players. Second is actors' evaluations of potential outcomes. And last, information actors have when they make choices. Next, types of games. So we have here 3 types of games in game theoretic approach. First, the prisoner dilemma or free riding temptation. Second, stag hunt or inhibiting fear. And the third is battle of sexes or where to meet. So this chart showing from problems to institutional solution. Under free riding temptation, strategic game is prisoner's dilemma. And the illustrations under free riding temptation are trade liberalization and debt rescheduling. And the rules of institutions under free riding temptation are channel to enforce contracts, monitoring surveillance, sanctioning mechanisms, and policy transfer. And examples of institutional solutions from free riding temptation are under monitoring surveillance, Articles 4th and 8th of IMF Trade Policy Review Mechanism WTO, and under sanction, conditionality IMF DSB's authorization of sanctions WTO, and under policy transfer, common trade policy and economic and monetary union in the European Union. Under naman sa inhibiting fear, the strategic game is stag hunt or assurance games. At ang illustrations nito is financial integration and trade specialization. And ang rules of institution under inhibiting fear is the enhancers of cooperation, pools of resources, suppliers of knowledge and capacity. And the examples of institutional solutions from or under inhibiting fear in pool of resources, quota system in IMF, under suppliers of knowledge and capacity, WTO technical cooperation, World Bank, IMF, and UNCTAD. And under where to meet, the strategic game is Battle of the Sexes. Ang illustrations nito ay managing adjustments and multilateral negotiations. So, ang rules of institutions nito under where to meet is providers of solutions to distributive conflicts. So, under nito is ang negotiation fora, agenda setting, and linkages. The examples of institutional solutions from where to meet are in negotiation fora, WTO General Council, Executive Boards IMF and World Bank, UNCTAD. And under agenda setting, in where to meet are IMF and World Bank staff. Next, these are the solutions for cooperation. Repeated games or interactions may increase chances of individual actors cooperating. Ang repeated games or interactions ay pwedeng makakadagdag or makapagdagdag or magpa-increase ng value ng cooperating ng bawat actors. Ang actors na sinasabi dito ay ang tao o ang mga tao na mayroon silang repercussions o epekto para sa international politics. Ang pag-increase ng value of individual actors cooperating ay maaring ma-undermined o bumaba sa pamamagitan ng sumusunod. First is the low expected value of cooperation. Second, high expected cost of defection by others. And third, difficulty in gathering information. So of course, kapag nahihirapan ang isang country or states na manganap ng informations, maaaring bumaba ang chance ng pag-increase when it comes in cooperating. The next solutions for cooperation is institution or regimes for cooperation. So, ang institutions or regimes, yan yung mga institutions or mga pamunuan for cooperation. So, these are consist of principles and norms and rules and procedures. So, ang institutions or regimes for cooperation ay may three major functions. First, a channel for the enforcement of agreements or yan yung ang targets nila is the uncertainty problem. Second, help states craft and choose among different responses. So, ang target naman nila dito is ang distribution problem. And the third is facilitates cooperative behavior. So, ang target nila dito ay ang assurance problem. So, next, we have 5 approaches of information or evolution of institution. First, neorealism. Second, neorealist institutionalism. Third, neoliberal institutionalism. Fourth, cognitivism. And fifth is constructivism. Neorealist, Waltz Mearsheimer. According to Waltz and Mearsheimer, regimes and international institutions have no significant role in international relations. Collaboration only sustainable if states highly value future interactions, have symmetric resources, and are highly interdependent. So according to Waltz and Mearsheimer, ang regimes or pamunuan at ng international institutions ay walang significant role or walang mahalagang tungkulin sa international relations. At ang collaboration ay napapanatili lamang kapag binibigyan lamang ng states ng malaking value ang future interactions, may symmetric or equal na natatanggap na resources at highly interdependent. Next, neorealist institutionalist Kindleberger, Gilpin, Krasner. So according to them, may distributional consequences ang institutional or institutions. Pwede palang makatulong ang institutions to control actor behaviors and ang role of hegemonic powers in the development of institutions. Hegemonic powers means yung mga mapang-abusong makapangyarihan. overemphasize tensions arising from the differences in the distribution of benefits between actors and downplay the possibility that actors might prioritize absolute over relative gains. Next, formation of institutions is neoliberal institutionalist J. Nye Guillen. So according to J. Nye Guillen, institutions can lower cost of choosing, organizing, negotiating, and entering into an agreement. So according to J. Nye and Guillen, ang institutions pwedeng bumaba yung cost ng pag-choose nila, pag-organize, pag-negotiate at pagsali o paggawa sa mga agreements. Actors create institutions because they are useful. So yes, nagki-create ng institutions ang mga actor dahil sila ay useful or marami silang magagawa. And existing institutions may constrain future institutional developments. So next, formation of institution is cognitivist E. Haas. According to him, emphasize the role of expert, consensus, and the interplay of experts and politicians. And new knowledge and cognitive understandings may affect the calculation of interest. The fifth formation of institutions is constructivist. A constructivist went, according to him, norms and values are dominant causal forces, and institutions can alter how actors conceive their basic interest and thus constrain their behavior. So sa constructivist, according to Wendt, ang kaugalian or pamantayan nila at ang values o halaga ay ang dominant, meaning yun ang nangingibabaw pagdating sa causal forces. Ang institutions ay maaari nilang ma-alter o mabago kung papaano ma-conceive or mailagay sa isip ng mga actors ang kanilang basic na interest at alam rin nila kung papaano i-constrain or i-force ang behavior na mayroon sa kanila. So that was the 5 formation of institutions. That's all. Shukran for listening.